And welcome back to another podcast.
Ow.
What?
Sorry. I think I just got bit.
From what?
The love bug. Welcome to Lemon Drops.
Go.
Guys, I'm engaged.
Look at that! I was so proud of you.
It's like so different because last episode we were like talking about dating and now I'm getting married. It's crazy.
I know. I'm so excited. You're gonna have like such a fun wedding.
I know. It's gonna be wild. It's a lot of stress.
Were you surprised or were you kind of like expecting it?
I was expecting it because we're gonna be we hit like 1 year, so I was like, oh my gosh, like it has to be happening soon, right? Because I never wanted to date more than a year, and then we were friends for 4 years before that. So I was kind of expecting it, but not on that day specifically. I just thought it was gonna be like
so
a
you
month
knew
later.
It was coming sometime.
I knew it was coming, but he knew me so well because I always like. He knew that I wanted my family there after the fact for like an engagement party after.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, like you're never gonna engage to me when my parents are out of town. And so when he asked my dad for permission to marry me, he told my dad, he's like, oh my gosh, like we need to surprise her. Like she already knows about an engagement, but my goal is to surprise her now. So sure enough, my mom, like being like super like on top of things, she's like, okay, let me plan a fake Lake Arrowhead trip because they go over there a lot because my parents own a house over there. And so my mom decided to pack, like for a week straight, she was talking about engagement, about the trip. And she was yelling at the kids as she always does, making sure the house was clean, which is funny because I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to know the day because you're going to be wanting the house clean and all this stuff. And I'm just going to know. And I was brat. But yeah, so then my mom was like, guys, get the house clean because we're going to Lake Arrowhead, which she always does. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then the day of that he proposed, I was sleeping and I woke up to her yelling at the kids. But little did I know that she was like, Adam, go bring the suitcases down. And then she would look at my dad. She would be like, and she would like totally wink at my dad. And my dad went to my sister and she was like, we need to get mom out of here before she ruins this whole thing. And then, cause she just kept doing little things like that. Like, hey, we gotta get this house clean. And then she would look at my dad. She'd be like,
so the whole family was throwing you off?
The whole family was just throwing me off in general. My mom packed the whole entire van with empty luggages.
Oh, she went all out for it.
All out. So when I went to work in the morning, and I came home around like 5 o'clock and, I'm outside talking to my cousin. And it's funny because I was actually talking to him about some engagement things too. Because I mentioned it. He's like, so when do you think? And I was like, oh, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I don't even know. But obviously not today. And then my dad came home. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, are you going to work? I was like, no, I'm coming home. He's like, oh, okay. And then he went inside. But when he walked inside, he was like, guys, she's outside. And then maybe 10 minutes later, everyone started walking out with like the luggages and stuff. And then my fiance now came and I was sitting there eating my pasta before my fiance came. And I was like, he wants to go out tonight and I don't even want to go out. Like I just want to stay home. Like I'm so tired. Like I just don't want to go out, but he wants to go watch the sunset. My mom's like, you are so mean. Like just go out, And I'm like, yeah, I know, whatever. So I finished my food and I went to shower and everything. I put on a hoodie and baggy jeans and everything. My mom was like, you never dress up for him. Like really, I don't know. She just made it where I was just like, okay, fine, whatever. Like maybe I don't. So I put on something way more nicer. And yeah, and then when my fiance came, my parents all left and everything. And my mom was like, Dianne, make sure you don't go in my room when I'm gone. Because she always yells at me for that. And then she looks downstairs at my sister and she's like, I'm really good at this. And my sister was like, Mom, shut up. So then they left. But when they left, me and my fiance was still inside. And I was like, do you really want to go out? Like, come on now. And he was like, if you want to stay home, we can just stay home. And I told him, I was like, what were you going to do? Why did you say that? He was like, because I knew you would take that as a hint if I said, no, we can't go out. And he's like, I was just really hoping you weren't going to actually want to stay home. Otherwise, I would have proposed to you in the living room, which is what you did,
There's
huh?
nothing wrong.
You should tell your engagement story.
Wait, but I want to know, did you have a hint or a feeling when you were actually on a date? Like,
I knew when we got on the pier because he proposed to me on Manhattan Beach Pier. Like, right? Like, we were watching
so
the
you didn't
sunset.
really get a sense of anything until pretty much like moments
Not
before it happened?
100%. I've always had feelings whenever we went out.
Like,
So,
is this going to be it?
yeah, you know. But, like, as far as for sure, he was just nervous the second we got on the pier. He was, like, looking around everywhere.
Aww.
And then, like, he wasn't grabbing my hand at all. And I was like, you always grab my hand. Like, you always hug me. Like, why aren't you doing that? And he kept looking around. And I was like, I thought he was, like, looking for my family. Like, because it was going to be, like, a hint. And then, but I was like, well, no, my family went to, like, Arrowhead. Like, you know, like, he wouldn't do that. And then, yeah, then he asked someone to film. And he was like, hey, can you take a photo of us? And then he whispered, like, you know.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, and the guy was like, a video? And I was like, I know. He was like, are you serious? But then sure enough. But even in the video, I was still a little confused.
Yeah. And
So-
you looked confused for a second in the video, like, what's going
Yeah,
on?
like now when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I knew. But then in the moment, I was still like, whatever.
That's cool, though, that you have a moment of capturing that moment on video, though.
Well, yeah, he stood on his knee for like 20 seconds. But I was like, why you stay so long? He goes, because I'm making sure the memory stays in your head. It stayed in my head, all right.
That's cute, though.
I know. It's exciting now.
Have you?
I want you to explain a little bit about your engagement because we were both really brats when it came to going out.
Yeah, I was somewhat similar to her. I didn't. He came that morning, or I forgot what time it was. I think it was like 3 o'clock or something. I forgot the time. But he came, and then I was like laying in my bed, not feeling good. And then my mom came in the room, and she's like, "He wants to take you out." And I was like, "I don't want to go out today." And she's like, and then I kind of got a clue because she's like, if there's ever a day you're going to listen to me, it's today. You need to go get ready. He's taking you out. And then I was like, she never pushes me to go out if I don't feel like it. So I walked out. I didn't even care. I was in baggy sweats, no makeup. Like, I looked really bad. And then I went on the couch and I was like, I don't want to go out. And he's like, well, I have a really nice place to take us. And I was like, I don't want to go. And then he's like, okay, we're going to do it right here. And then he just proposed right in the living room.
He said he had like a whole thing planned for you guys.
He did.
Too.
He had like a whole restaurant, everything planned and stuff, and I just was not in a good mood. But he asked me at my worst moment, so he really loved me.
Yeah, I think if I was a guy, I would have just rescheduled the whole entire thing. It's like it's not happening today.
How did Booney ask your dad? Did he tell you afterwards, like the story or anything?
Yeah, he asked my dad. Well, a lot of people I don't know. My dad loved him before like everything happened, and you know, my dad's actually the one that went to me because I was like best friends with him. But I did not like him like at all. I was just like, he's just my best friend, like whatever. Like I just tell him everything. My sisters did too, but like my dad would be like, Dianne likes you. She just doesn't know it yet. Like, please, like, take her out on one date. And he's like, no, Mr. Bateman, like, I can't right now. And, yeah, so, what were we asking?
Did you?
Oh, how he asked my dad.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
like, when, I know, he was like, so he texted him. I mean, my dad knew it was going to happen eventually because my dad was like, you better not give him 1 year.
When I started teasing you about him, saying, "Oh, you should date that guy. You should date that guy." Did you like him back then, or were you still just on a friends mutual?
Oh no, I was on a friends mutual. But the only thing that would put thoughts into my head is the stories previously with your sisters.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. When
it is a thing where like you don't like. It's weird. It's like you don't like somebody like in that way, and then before you know it, you're like, "Oh, maybe I do have feelings for them."
I know. Yeah, so like my aunt calls it like a fungus. Like they grow on you. No, he definitely grew on me.
Those
obviously.
are the best kinds.
Like my dad would always come to me and be like, he just makes you laugh like no other person. And I knew he did. Like he really did. So, but in my eyes, again, he had his life plan set in front of him and I knew I wasn't going to get in the way. So I was like, I left it all up to God. I was like, if God really thinks that he is the one for me, I'm not going to do anything to it because I don't like him in that way. Like, he was a really good friend, but I knew, like, it's cool to be best friends with him before that you actually start dating. So I knew if it was God's plan that we would end up together, and sure enough.
It was cool too because when they were just friends, he was actually joining this seminary.
Seminary, yeah.
Yeah, to go see if he could pursue like, you know,
Which a lot of
priesthood.
my uncles are gonna comment on this.
So he was
I
going.
did not take him away from becoming God's person.
So he was going to pursue that just to see if it's for him, and then she was doing her own thing with working and stuff like that. And then it just worked out that
We can literally write a book about our like whole story. I don't even. Are we going into full detail on how we met and everything in this pod? Like,
why not? It's your engagement.
Because goodness, that was so much. We can literally write a book on this. Like,
yeah, I think they have a really cool story. Like he came back from the seminary like still as friends. He didn't come back for her. They came back like, oh, let's just still hang out as friends, and then it just quickly developed where they were like, oh, actually, we changed our minds.
yeah. So we met through he was like an altar server at our parish, and my brother started serving there as well. They became friends, and he actually came one day. My brother hosted a huge football game, and he came, and I remember me and my sister Sienna, we were just standing in the kitchen with my mom because we were all cooking breakfast, and we seen like him walk in with like a few other guys, but him specifically, we were like, he was wearing a hot pink shirt, and we were like, who is that guy? Like, he's wearing a hot pink shirt, and we were like, whatever about it. And then again, a few months later, like he kind of started becoming me, my sisters, and my little brother's friend, and we were hanging out like a lot. And you know, he was joining the seminary, so even in my head, like we never thought about it. But it was funny because my sisters would tease us sometimes, and we would even be like, hey, you know, like, but it was complete jokes and like literally jokes only. And actually we have a group chat with my cousin and some of us siblings, and it was our wedding day. And my sister made a wedding day for us.
Oh, really?
And a save the date card and everything. And we're like, oh my gosh, Bernadette, like you cannot be making this wedding thing. Like he's joining the Abbey. And she's like, just for fun. So then we played off on it, and like we pretended like it was just like a whole story. We actually had that group chat.
That reminds me, do you remember when me and Chase were just talking as friends, and you and Caitlin drew me this picture saying like you and Chase forever?
I don't remember you guys ever talking as friends.
You don't remember?
No.
We were just talking the time as friends, and you and Caitlin drew us this whole picture. I still kept it. And it was like, you love Chase, and Chase and just everything. And then you slid it under my door, and I was talking to him, and I was like, oh my goodness, we're just friends. And then like I put the paper down, but I ended up keeping that paper. I have it. I'll have to show you it.
I have no memory of that at all.
Okay.
But that's cool. Yeah, our story was just like amazing. Like we were just strictly best friends at first. We hung out a lot. I stopped talking to him for like a good month before he left to the Abbey, because I was like, okay, we cannot be this close, you know, like it's just gonna be hard just not having a best friend anymore. So I was like, whatever. So I stopped texting him, and he was like, why'd you stop texting me? And I was like, because like it was just gonna be hard, like just not having a friend anymore. Because I would go to him for all my relationship problems. Like one time I went on a date with a guy, and like he came back with a friend, and he's like, okay, tell me all about it. And then like, you know, as a joke, and so I was telling him. But I would literally go to him for advice. I was like, you're my spiritual director now since you're becoming a priest. So like all my advice about relationships, I would go to him. Little did I know he was just guiding me away from them so he can be with me. I'm just kidding.
He is not controlling.
No, he gave me very good, like really good advice. And we just continued talking after that. And then he left for 8 months to the Abbey. And we did our own things, literally. Like not a thought went in my, like, you know, like once in a while we would send letters, but it was strictly like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm talking to this guy, you know, and he's like, okay, like praying for you. And then yeah, it's funny because I think my dad brought him up like 2 weeks before because I was hanging out like with the wrong crowd. My dad was like, you just need Booney, that's all you need. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like I'm
We're
not
all hoping for you to go with Booney.
I know. And then basically like 2 weeks before he came back, I was like, look, God, if it's your will that I'm with him, like just let it, like I trust you completely. Like, you know, I started going to daily mass and praying my rosary, just getting closer. And I was on the beach, and we never went to the beach without Booney, like ever. His name's Dominic, but he has a nickname Booney. That's why we call him Booney. Yeah, it's like our first time. And while me and my sisters were walking down to the beach, we looked at each other and we're like, this is our first time going to the beach without Booney. And I'm like, oh yeah, huh? You know, we laughed about it. We laid down on the beach and everything. And I open my eyes and I look at my phone and it's Booney's contact. And I'm like, guys, look at your phone right now. And it's a text from Booney. And he was like, guys, I just want you guys to know before everyone tells you I'm back from the Abbey. It wasn't for me. Yeah, basically we called him and we were like, we are at the beach right now. And he lives literally on the beach. And he was like, I'm on my way down right now. And then he came down and I teared up a little bit because I was like, I just told God if this was his plan. And I knew the second. I was like, this is all God's plan. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, now we're together.
That's exciting.
There's like so much details in the story. It's like,
so just to retract what I said, when he got back from the Abbey, you automatically knew you guys were going to date, or you were remain friends for at first?
No, he right when he came back, we pretty much knew. That Tuesday, I text him, because we always message before. So I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, and it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, you're still up? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm back from the Abbey. Like, this is wild. And I was like, yeah, that's so crazy. We were texting till like 2 a.m, which wasn't a big deal for us because we always used to text anyways. Yeah, and then that Tuesday we went out because when you leave to a seminary, you get rid of all your clothes and everything that you have. So we went out and I was like, okay, this guy's going to be my boyfriend, obviously. So I have to redress him. So we went out and I got him clothes and all that. And then we hung out, went to Starbucks. And yeah, that was just us hanging out. Our first date was on Manhattan Beach Pier.
Oh, so that's why. So it had meaning where he proposed to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
You know, crazy stuff.
Have you gotten from anybody yet? Because you've been engaged for how long now?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Have you gotten from anybody like negativity as far as like, you're so young, you shouldn't get married yet, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean,
you have?
It's funny because on the pier when we got engaged, usually in videos you see everyone clapping and stuff. People were looking at us like we're confused, you know? Like because we looked so little, like I looked like super little. So I definitely got a lot of stares then. But as far as comments, yeah. And I mean, people are just like, oh my gosh, like, why are you getting married so young? Like, you still have so much, like, ahead of you, and you need to get this lined up and this lined up and have your whole life planned. And, I mean, we talked. It's not like it just came out of nowhere. Like, we discussed things. And
yeah, for those of you who are young and dating, don't listen to the people out there. Go get married young.
Yeah, if they're the right one. I think there's...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if you're going to be able to tell, like, the only reason why 1 year was for me is because I knew this guy for years beforehand. So,
but I think even 1 year of dating is great.
Yeah, just even again how much you hang out.
Yeah, even if you didn't prior know him, I just think a year is plenty of time to get to know a person.
Yeah, and it just all depends how too, like in a situation. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's always good signs too, like, you know, him asking your dad for his blessing. That's a huge one.
Oh yeah,
it shows good character in him and stuff like that. That he wants to please the family as well, and he respects her parents. So
I feel like my life is just set for it. Like, I'm not into, people always ask me, don't you want to experience life and do this, and you have so much to do? And I'm like, we were brought into this world to literally, you know, like, either become, like, you know, have a vocation, and mine was marriage. And I always knew that as a young girl, and having kids and, you know, teaching them to know, love, and serve God. And that's literally what I'm here to do. And I feel so ready for it now. Like, when I was little, I always thought to myself, how am I going to know I'm ready? Like, you know, I want to get married young, but how am I going to know if I'm ready? Am I going to jump into something? And I was always scared of what people thought of it. Like, thought of the idea. So when I announced it on social media, I was very scared on what, like, coworkers were saying and things like that. But everyone was coming up to me because I posted a little quote, basically like, you know, just like what people are going to be like, you know, I said, people are going to think I'm too young to be married and too immature, but everyone has their own maturity in a relationship, and there's just little things that when you're in a relationship, you're just gonna know, like, this is it. And when I met him, I'm
Are
losing
you
my
nervous?
mindset.
Are you nervous about what another thing people talk about marrying young is being set financially? Is that something that worries you too,
Oh
or
yeah, that's definitely challenge. That's
what advice could you give a young couple out there who is also wanting to get married but they don't have the financial means right now?
um. I
Because
mean, I'm not
it is
set. I'm
hard.
not. No one's perfect. We don't have a 3 year. We don't have a big plan. But all I can say is when you enter a relationship, like according to God's eyes and putting Him in the center of it, even for those people that did mess up before marriage, as long as you start somewhere, like God is going to forgive you. God's going to see that you're trying. So I believe, which I tell my fiance all the time, if we do things right, we put God in the center, it's going to be hard. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be, living in California is just hard. It's
Expensive.
financially, it's expensive. I don't want to move away from family. Um, when we get married, we're going to have kids. We're going to leave it up to God according to what He wants. But as long as you do things right and in God's eyes and you put Him first, you're going to need to work hard. And I told him, you're going to need to work hard. Like, and he knows that, go out and make the money and the financial needs that we are going to need. And then as long as you're doing things right, you just have to leave it up to God at that point. You can't stress yourself out because there's not going to be, if you keep waiting in life to make sure you have a full plan in your set career, there's no time for that. There's never going to be a perfect time.
Yeah, and you miss all those years you get to spend with them, and
Exactly. And I actually heard a story, and it was, this girl that she got married, and 2 months later, she found out she had breast cancer and she's not allowed to have kids anymore. And she was like, oh my gosh, like if I just waited 2 more months, I wouldn't even be, like, I would be getting married bald. And, well, and not being able
yeah.
to. But I was like, that was just all God's plan. He knew that you're going to need somebody. So for those who are financially not ready, don't wait. Like, do things right and according to God's eyes. Perfect does not exist. So if you are just going to wait for a plan and wait for you to be 100%, that's really never going to work.
Yeah.
So
Now, mind
you're
you,
just going to need to face them together.
Yeah. Now, mind you, of course, he has to have a job to at least support you.
Oh, yeah. That's why you have to work hard.
But a lot of people think like, even when we got married young, they think like you have to have money for, you have to have money for, to send all your kids to college. You have to have money for a house. You have to have money to, if you want to go on vacation, all that stuff. And, I was like, no, I don't, like you said, we were like, let's just put God in the center of our lives and He will bless us through our marriage. As long as we keep God first, He'll bless us and He'll make it happen. So where we can, do things. And, when we got married, he wasn't making that much money and we trusted in God, and we just prayed and stuff like that. And, now we have multiple kids and we do take vacations with them and stuff like that. And I don't feel, like we're missing out. I feel like we have the richest life we could live right now, honestly.
Which, don't get me wrong, I don't like it when people are like, oh, so all we have to do is pray and God will provide. No.
Yeah.
Like, God will provide in His
trials.
God will provide in His own ways. He's not going to be like, oh, you're doing my will. Here's like $1 million job, things like that. He'll provide in ways like, let's say someone comes to you and says, hey, I have this side job, you need to come, like, this is some extra money. He's going to come in those ways. You're going to have to work for it. Like, let's say a side job comes for, my fiance on like a Saturday and he doesn't want to wake up. Like, you're going to need to push yourself and wake up for it. But those are going to be those little ways that God intervenes and gives you.
Yeah, exactly. Even like, usually every Christmas or, quite often actually, my mother-in-law will come in with, brand new shoes for my kids. And that's such a huge deal to us, because shoes cost. So it's like little things like that. My mom even said when she had her kids, when we were all little and they didn't have a lot, she said that her dad would walk in once in a while with like a bunch of meat and stuff for dinner.
Yeah.
And that was such a blessing because it was like, oh my goodness, that just saved us on so much money. So God intervenes in His own way.
Exactly. You're gonna have to you have to work very hard, but He will provide at the end of the day.
I just feel like it's so hard for family life because idealistically, they call this Satan's world, right?
Yeah.
So he is 100% against family life, and his job is to destroy it. So now everybody is afraid to get married because it's, financial means. They make it almost impossible now to even own a home in California, at least. People out there, I hate when they say like, I don't know, they just make it so they make every negative point they can not to start families and not to get married. And, don't be afraid. You pray, you go to church, you put God at the center and everything falls into place. And obviously there'll still be trials and everything, but I mean, that's life. No matter what you choose in life, you're going to have trials.
You're not going to have a perfect, just because you do God's will. Part of doing God's will is accepting those, sacrifices.
But it's funny though, because even when you do God's will, even if you don't have everything, in a sense, you do have everything.
Those people that like don't have, people just sometimes are unhappy with their lives, and people they look at us and they're like, "How are you happy?" Like,
yeah, they're like, you don't have like, people like I sometimes even when I talk to like people, they'll be like, "You've never traveled here, you've never been here," and it's like a pity party for me, and I'm just like, I find myself the richest I can possibly be in this world.
You have a family.
Yeah, I have a family, a husband, we're a stable family and everything. So I'm like, I feel honestly richer than anybody because it's like, I don't know, it's such a gift God gives you when you do as well.
No, it's true. You got engaged the same time as me, right? At 20?
Age, yeah.
Like age time?
Yeah, we were both 20 when we got engaged, and then I was 21 when I got married, same age you'll be.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I got a lot of
Did you feel ready?
Yeah. Looking back,
besides the part, like, you just wanted to get out of the house kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because you knew you were going to have a family right away, right?
Yeah. No, like 3 months into dating, I told my husband, well, boyfriend at the time, but I was like, I want a big family. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. So
that's what you mentioned in the...
Yeah, so it did take us longer. We dated for 2 years, and then we got engaged for a year. So a total of 3 years dating. And that was because he, at the time, didn't even have a job to support even a small apartment. So we were just waiting for that job to kick in. So we kept praying. And then as soon as he landed his job, his career job, within like, I think a month or two, he proposed. And we were like, okay, we're ready to start.
I feel like just once you know, once you feel like that security and that you can do it together, like.
And it sucks too when people look at you and they're just like, you're so young, you're so immature. And it's like, well.
Yeah, I hate
I'm not going to wait to grow old.
I know. I hate when people bring up maturity because they think it's like finances and just like things.
You work it out together.
Exactly. Like the only way you're going to grow, like, benefits from getting married young. Like, could you name like a few like benefits from getting young?
I wish I knew him when I was younger. Like, I think it was so cool that you met Booney. What age?
I met him at 16.
Yeah. Okay, I was 19, or I just turned 19.
Yeah, but we didn't become friends. Yeah, because I just got my hair done. I remember. I had like really blonde hair. I met him at like the December after my 16th.
I think spending more time, obviously spending extra time, but I think a huge one too is that you grow together. So when you're 18, 19 compared to 30, which is I guess what most people get married at these days, there's a huge maturity level from 19 to 30.
Yeah.
So for my experience at least, I love the fact that we were both really immature and we both grew more mature together. Because, we learned how to handle our arguments and just the way we think and the way we make decisions. So now we can read each other really well because it's like we kind of grew up together in that sense.
Yeah, instead of committing to who you guys are, you are just committing to who you guys are going to become instead of who you are.
That was a really good one.
Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, you guys just get more time together. So
you'll be, how long will you be engaged roughly around, would you say?
10 months.
Okay, so you'll have about 2 years of dating, would you say? Then
almost
2 years of dating.
Yeah, we'll be a year and 10 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So just about because he proposed at like basically a year, and then we would have 10 months of an engagement. So you had a
Are you-
9, right?
Yeah. Are you doing like a big wedding or a small wedding?
I feel like people have different views on that kind of stuff, but I feel like this is a big day for family to come together and
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
just
like
to
the
celebrate
family
it
reunion.
and just be together because, I mean, those two families becoming one in a sense. So, yeah, we're definitely having a big wedding. We did the guest list today, actually. Woo! There's like some people I'm like, does not have to come. And then my parents are like, but they have to come. And I'm like,
Hey, the more people
"Ah."
you have a lot of love around you.
True. Everyone's RSVP now. But yeah, no, big wedding definitely for sure. 10 months is a lot of people actually have their own perspective on short engagement, but I don't consider 10 months very short.
I think it's long.
Yeah, if
I had
he has
not-
long.
I had 9 months engagement. I thought that was
Yeah.
way too long. I mean, I love being home too, but
No, I love it because we're getting married after the holidays. So my dad was like, you can have like one last holiday with us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when you think of it like that, I'm
Yeah.
like, goodness. But no, I'm excited to start this new chapter in life. And this is what I want. And I'm ready to start my family, raise some kids. I am not letting this ruin my hair again. I think that one was better.
Yeah, I think that was better.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
his family, like oh.
MJ, do you have marriage advice for me?
This looks like this. Yeah. I want to say something.
Because we talk about life, judgment. Oh, it's just too cringy. That's why.
What?
Me and my aunt. My aunt who talks too much, in my opinion, sometimes.
And
By the way, I was one of her closest. Yes, I was. Who would go
it was
on?
Caitlin. Caitlin, if you're watching.
I'm not putting that in.
I was not mature when I got married. I'll tell you that. I was not.